Welcome to EVE Online, I'm Major Freak. So the idea here, is to basically stagger my ore holes so I can eject and mobile tractor unit each one by one, as to not have a close by can preventing cloaking up of my guys, and that's basically the whole strategy. Everything else is stressing. Spread everybody out far away from the warp in as possible. This one's the closest. It's kind of uncomfortably close. I'm okay with that, really. As soon as I see enemies in system, there's no point in turning off the ice miner, because you're not going to get anything if you turn it off before the cycle ends. So I just hit cloak for everybody, and it just solves the problem. Yeah, piece of cake. I have my apps key, which is it's between function and control on your keyboard. It doesn't really do anything for me in real life, lol. But if I hit it, it'll open them up. I've remapped it to that, to open the general mining hold. And 15, and as soon as I hit 15, I eject, pop my MTU, bookmark the MTU. If I need to scoop it, I'll just redo the bookmark. And all the bookmarks are personal and for 2 days. And there you go. And I'll start the thing, and of course, my mining hold with that hotkey. Love it. Pull my drones. Dump the salvage drones. Whoops. And the nice thing about salvage drones, you do not need to target anything. You can just hit engage, and it just salvages anything in range. I have, of course, a drone link augmentor, so I've got 85, 84 range on my salvage drones. So it's taken care of. Translate that. It's a bit annoying when the wrecks interfere with you trying to 14, one more, trying to get those cans away from your endurances so they can cloak up with an instant, without any in an instant. Sorry. So that's the aim. See anything local that I don't trust, I have local threat. I think GCG is the one. No, it's not. Threat. Where is it? I think it's this one. I've got a number. There we go. So the local suspects. This is local threat's great if you really don't know the area well and can't identify who the baddies are. You can simply use local threat to start, copy paste into local threat website, and it'll remember. And as long as you bookmark that that particular specific website for your pasting, you can just add to it over the days and weeks as you go by, and you can get a feel of who are the regular threats that you really need to cloak up for instantly. And whoops. By the way, if I do have 6, if I do have more than 15, all I do is split and then dump the 15, so I never lose out on start screwing up my staggering, because it's really important, because it's I think it's 16. I do 16, 13, 9, and 6. Whatever, 3, 6, 9, 15, right? As long as you separate them by 3, your mining hold is lots of space, no worries at all. So that's how I do it. And take one more. My my booster has Mining Foreman, max skills, 39 kilometer range. Is it max skill or open the wrong one? Fleet support. Okay, so almost. So lots of range, as far as possible. Probably not as far as possible. Yeah, let's, well, that's, no, that's good. So I'll go a bit down. Let's see, I can go 10 down. I want to go too far because remember you warp in at like 2.5 kilometers dispersion, so you know, as long as I'm within 5 kilometers of my maximum, so 34, I'm good. I usually have my booster on with the tactical overlay, so I usually link it with orbit camera, which is more tactical than the the official tactical camera. That one's more aesthetic. I have the rest of my guys on the aesthetic camera setting. And blab my face off, so 9. Oh. Whatever. 9. I can't do math. And jettison. There we go. Yeah, it just takes care of it for you. No worries at all. I tend to leave it in place. I always figure I can, if there's nobody in system, I can dock up, get back here. I've got ascendancy implants, and I can do this quickly enough that I'm not too worried about losing an MTU if somebody does jump on me very quickly. And they'll eventually figure it out, so I'll have to be more careful in the future. What I used to do when I was in actual hostile territory, that I knew people would go after me constantly, every time I would warp, I would just scoop the mobile tractor unit. I had no worries whatsoever. And I don't have a cloak on this because if there's somebody in system, I'll hit cloak on everything else, but then the last one to go is usually the hauler because I'm waiting for that last tractor beam to pull that last jet can in, typically, Murphy's Law, and scoop the MTU, get the hell out of there. Usually there's hostile on grid trying to get to me while they're cloaked up, but I'm gone before they can reach me. And of course I've got Warp Core Stab just in case. Yeah. It's very relaxed. It's a fun occupation, low-sec mining. It keeps you awake because you know you don't want to get jumped by hostiles, so that alone grabs your interest, and so you don't doze off like I usually tend to do if I'm mining in high sec. The fit's okay. I really miss my triple warp core stab because, yeah, bombers with that covert Sino generator and a faction scram will, yeah, they'll drop blops on Corvettes. So, yeah. Usual tactic for White Sky is to log off a bomber in the belt, you know, and just log it on when they think there's a target there. See if they can pounce on you before you realize it. But yeah, this is far enough away from their usual stomping grounds. But once Kane Tar figures out where I am, yeah, they'll send somebody to check me out because, you know, why not? I might get lazy one day and they can catch me one day. It happens. Well, 15. Boop. Yeah, it's very relaxed. I love lowsec ice mining. It's so much fun. And it's a pity too because, well, I don't really use my drones on the endurances, and when you put a workhorse stab, it lowers your drone bandwidth, so you've got like you've got one drone instead of three. It's like, ooh. But I might need it if a battleship, you know, the Sanchalord spawns. I might. Oops. Pull my drone, silly me. Yeah, and as long as, see, if I'm quick, and the idea here is that I loot all, scoop the mobile tractor unit, dock up, dump my stuff, and come back, and so there's no wrecks. There's no indication that any, like if you cloak up and somebody warps to the belt to see if anybody's there and where's the targets in system, they'll warp to the belt, see absolutely nothing, and go, oh, well, right? You expect at least to see wrecks or something, you know, what that Care Bears sleeve, right? You know, something there to indicate that there's activity. But if you do that, there's no trace of you, which is great because it's an you know, their interest won't be piqued, and you know they'll eventually find out. You know, they'll eventually find out what you do, what ship you fly, probably what fits you. You know, blah blah. They'll find out eventually everything about you. The trick is to just be a very hard target, and they will not be very interested, except if they're, you know, the sneaky Russians, and you know they'll just try because, right? Just part of their daily routine. See if they can catch you. I really need a can for this gear. Ugh, whatever. Nope. As you can see, I've been going around in clockwise fashion. Warp back to the bookmark. Yeah, it works pretty good actually. I like it. It's a nice system. You know, I have no worries. There's no jet cans out. I'm only pumping out one at a time. It's all good. And the nice thing is, if I leave the MTU in place, that jet can is being pulled immediately, so I don't have to land, eject it, and potentially have somebody jump into system while I'm doing that, and I can't cloak up. So, you know. But yeah, it's just managing your risk. There's always going to be risks, no matter what you do. In Eve, and it's just a trick of, you know, managing it. And it was a real demoralizing hit when CCP listened to the trolls and the nullsecers, and just severely, you know, it's like, oh, the bots are botting in nullsec with like 15 workhorse stabs, boo hoo hoo, you know, and it's like, oh, really? Oh, sorry. I'm. Let me shed a tear for the PvPer who can't stack enough points on target. Aw, and like us, workhorse stabs, Tech 2 workhorse stabs, faction workhorse stabs. I don't think they have faction workhorse, but you know, any workhorse stab has only +1. It's always been that way. And we can stack them until we run out of low slots, and then we can't stack anymore. But the PvPers, not only can they stack, but they can bump. So it's like, oh, great, thanks CCP for listening to the morons. It's like, oh, we can't police the, we can't self-police the bots. It's like, you're like, okay, so don't rent to them. How about that? You know, or have CCP do their job, or have a better reporting system. Ooh. You know, have a better reporting system for reporting a bot. It's like, you know, click report, you know, instead of is spammer, report bot, because maybe that would be more important than that, right? And if you abuse it, yeah, you'll get in trouble. But yeah, it's just amazing. It's just so silly, isn't it? It's like, take a chance here. Boop. Do. Come on. There we go. It's always a few seconds before it kicks in. Yeah, but I used to, so I'd have 3 warp core stabs. I would max out my sensor boosting so I could actually target, or I could actually mine something and get real close to the roid, like I do currently. And at least I had some protection against these guys with one single faction scram. It was just so demoralizing. It was like, really? It's like, I can't give my fit and enjoy the game without feeling hugely pressured by the fact that I can't even use a single warp core stab, even a Tech 2, to get, like, they say, like this. Now it's just active, and all of them have +2. It's like, well, can you get +3 for freaking Tech 2, for Christ's sake? But no, of course not, because, oh, that would hurt the poor feeling of PvPers, and we possibly can't do that. Yeah, it's like, ugh. But, you know, that's CCP. They will, yeah, you don't need to hear my rant about griefers and how they love to, well, it's developers the world over, when they purport to like PvP, they allow themselves to be fooled by the kiss-ass behavior of griefers. And it's literally kiss-ass. These people have done it in other games, and it's just, you see it plain as day. You know, the love bombing that goes on is just like cult level, and it's like, wow. So that's the way it runs. Yeah, it's just the way it happens when you have PvP loving devs. They like the adoration, right? It's like, a long time ago there was a blog called Biting the Hand That Feeds, I think, and they were community managers. It was obviously a conflict of interest with their attitude towards the gaming community, but you know, a lot of the stuff they said was on point. They would talk about how retention by veterans is because they get frustrated with the game. And of course, if you think they're paid, their business model is community management, of course they want to have it that way. But they also said something very interesting about developers, that developers would play a game of whack-a-mole with their player base, not treating their player base like customers or players, but a social engineering experiment where they were basically irritated with their guinea pigs, basically. And so, yeah, it's a major blind spot with any developer team, a gaming developer team, right? Yeah, it's kind of interesting. But yeah, I mean, it's just part and parcel of a PvP game that you're going to have the griefers taking advantage of foolish, egotistical devs, because they're kind of like Mind, really. You know, zero risk, maximum reward. They hate CCP hates criticism. They can't take criticism. It's just like griefers can't take any risk, right? They hate it. But yeah, whatever. Yeah, I can spend hours doing this. It's so much fun. I really enjoy this. Yeah, now, as you can see, I've got Cloak mapped to F2 for all my guys, and F8 for Workhorse Stab for all my guys. And I try to keep F2 empty as much as I can.
Warp drive active.
Yeah, it works great. Yeah, I mean, if, say, I haven't even checked his, I don't think he does enough kills for me to actually get a good feel for his daily activity and when he's online and stuff. Because, you know, they're part-timers, right? So can't really get a good grasp about their online times. And it's like, reading Z-Kill is kind of difficult because you've got to remember it's survivor bias. It's like, ooh, they're on all the griefers are online at 1800 hours. But yeah, but that's peak time, so you gotta remember that. Seen before? Nope, haven't seen before. Hedion, I'm guessing a noob. Yeah, I am not gonna worry about that one. Probably transiting. 12 years. I'm guessing Sino. I'm guessing Sino. I haven't seen the... could have been Explorer. There's a new one. I should actually have this open. Right? To spot the signatures that appear. 12, 6, 8. Oops. 15. Oop, oop. Boink. Yeah, most likely an Explorer. I don't really worry about those at all. But just in case, I better get real and yeah, gone into a wormhole. Yeah, I can't get too sloppy. I've been pretty complacent today. My intuition is telling me the locals aren't even awake. It just breeds complacency, unfortunately. But you have one close call and you're like, oh, better get things set up. You're like, oh, wait. Being complacent. I'll keep drones on for this one. Don't need them all. And I'll also want to set up my squad list, and especially for this one, because this will be the last pilot I'll be getting evasion techniques for, because, you know, setting all this up, it's it's important to make sure that I can't see anybody, that I know they're all cloaked up successfully. I'll let that. There we go. Do 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 do. That's pretty much it. It's everything in a nutshell. I was kind of hoping for a PvPer to jump in so I can show you the routine of me cloaking up and then decloaking and getting everything set up again, you know, turning on the boosters, turning on the bursts, you know, all that jazz. And just showing you what I do when I cloak up. Yeah, I'll just sit there. You know, I mean, they'll pop in a system, I'll recognize it as a threat, and I'll just cloak everybody up super quick. And if they're lucky, like if they come in from one of these two systems, which is typically not a direction, so I'm pretty lucky right now with both of the icicles. They're far away from the highly trafficked jump gates, so they might not even see me on D-scan by the time I cloak up. So they'll see the miasmos, maybe guess the ice belt. They'll eventually figure out I'm ice mining here. But yeah, I mean, that's all it takes. Just to be an annoying target. And they'll just give up. I don't even know how much this stuff is worth. I haven't even tried reprocessing yet. Celestes. Ice harvesting. Clear crust and yeah, okay. Oh. Come on. Why isn't this working? Give me a sec. Ah! There we go. When they look like it, like when it looks like a PvP-ish, it's always going to be a Care Bear. It's like you just look at it and go, that's a Care Bear trying to look like somebody dangerous. Oh yeah, Cormorant dead. Well, it might survive. I'm just so used to having battle barges. So I don't think he'll engage me. He's just a ratter. Be interesting if he does. Cormorant's Navy issue. I'm not sure how that would work. How tanky is that? Yeah, I think he's just going around Yeah, Ratter. How old is he? 2 years old, 3, man. Right? Getting a bit cocky, of course. I shouldn't really be. I should be cloaked up. But everything says Care Bear, freaking Ratter.
Warp drive active.
And he's gone. I'm guessing into Kepra? Whatever.
Docking permission requested. Docking request accepted.
Haven't made a bookmark yet. How far am I? Oh, that's good enough. So cool. Yeah, how much have I done so far? Not bad this last few days. I think I've gone ice mining 3 times in the last week in this system.
Warp drive active.
I don't know why I had shield. I think it was for incursion, possibly. Probably. Do 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 do. And the thing is, I'm using Tech 2 mining lasers, ice mining lasers, and they're wasting, like, they'll get an icicle, but there's a 33% chance it'll remove an icicle from the glare crust, right? So if I really want to go down to Tech 1, but there's no, it's just ore and Tech 1, right? So it's kind of sucky. Only show things that differ. Silly thing. Residual, yeah, right? And then, ooh, that takes even longer. Oh, that sucks. Okay, so yeah, that's the only thing. So what? That's 20% faster. ish. And I'm not a fan of waste, and I'm a fan of, you know, sitting on field and getting as much as possible. Then I go do something else. 20% isn't enough to really, you know, if I'm not making enough, 20% is not going to, you know, make it good, right? This is way less lucrative. I should be scouting for pirate strongholds right now and making a lot of ISK, but you know, I like ice mining. It's fun. It's enjoyable. Because it's not, you don't have the irritation of switching targets in the asteroid belt to, as your all the roids pop so quickly. These icicles last a long time, and you can just freaking relax and, you know, haul the ice back and forth. Whee! Yeah, and it's a shame because porpoises can't compress ice, which is the dumbest thing ever. Yeah, it's just, it's like, well, upgrade. It's like, what are you talking about? Freaking just make it happen, Jesus. It's like so funny. It's like, it's just so funny. It's like, what? Yeah, and you don't even want to know the thinking because it's just so, like, you could role play a reason, like a really dumb reason, and make it sound good, but you scratch the surface on it and it just falls apart right away. Because what is the difference between being able to compress, say, you can't do the anomalies because that's, right? Yeah, you can totally do the anomalies, like Dark Ochre and Nice. You can totally compress that stuff. It's not moon ore, right? What is the difference between a porpoise compressing Dark Ochre and Nice, which is way more lucrative than this stuff?
The asteroid is depleted.
Right? And let's see now. I'm going to go for that one. I don't care. Right? Find that. Yeah, it's just, it makes absolutely no sense. It never has. It's like, porpoises can compress gas. Okay, great. You know, right? It's like, okay, so why not ice, right? It's like, I can understand them trying to prevent compression for moon ore, which is kind of strange, right? But if we ignore that, it's like, what's the difference between Nice and, like, it's not as lucrative. Why can't we use porpoises to compress? It just, it's never made any sense whatsoever, right? It's just a silly restriction for absolutely no good reason. Hey, roleplay reasons if you want, but yeah, they're all silly.
Warp drive active. Docking permission requested. Docking request accepted.
Hold on. Oh, that's odd. 4, 2, 4. It's a bit off, isn't it? So that's supposed to 14, 11. That's supposed to be 8, right? And this is supposed to be 5. So we're off by quite a bit here. So it slowly drifts out of sync. No matter your intentions, it's kind of annoying. But as long as you staggered it enough, it's all good.
Warp drive active.
Yeah, what I'll probably do when I dock up is to shuffle around what icicles I do have to make sure I'm staggered properly once I end this session, and so I can start a fresh session later with it staggered properly. Because the last thing you want to do is have 2 jet cans out and the need to cloak up, and you just can't until you move away from the jet can, and then it just starts to fall apart. Yeah, you've got to be able to cloak up instantly. Would I spend 300 million S to get a Magpie MTU? Not in your life. Nope. Yawn. La la la. Now, I really should avoid mining that particular glare crust and say move my my guy over to the last droid and just avoid mining that, because now I'm, you know, that was the smallest one, and the others will take quite a while till they run out of their droid. So it just doesn't make sense for me to make a bookmark when all I'm really doing for some of the time is mining clear icicles. It doesn't make sense profit-wise. And of course, this pilot is the closest to the warp-in. So yeah, I think in the future I'll definitely make the bookmark for over there. And just mine for the clear icicles, and then just mine clear ice if I really feel like sticking around. But if I'm mining for this long in this ice belt with no danger whatsoever, then I'll just get out my procurers and go battle barge it, right? Chancy if there's white sky around, but the Russians, but right? Just makes sense. La la la. Just, unless something interesting happens, they're just going to kill the mic.
Warp drive active. Docking permission requested. Docking request accepted. Warp drive active. Warp drive active. Docking permission requested. Docking request accepted.